Hi, welcome back to my channel. Tonight we're going to have a special guest, a very long time, very good friend of mine is going to join us from upstate New York. She is a retired law enforcement officer. And so while we're talking about whether we're going to back the blue or defund police, she's going to give us some of her expert opinions on this. So I don't know, whoever is in chat, if you could let yourself be known, say something so I know who's here. And if Jan, if you're here, if you want to let me know, I have put up a Heidi. Awesome. There's Jan and Ashley. Awesome, guys. So Jan, the link is there. Do you see the link? That should be what you can click to join me. So yeah, tonight we're going to talk about whether you want to back the blue or defund the police. You know, I'll give my opinion. Jan's going to give us her expert advice, and you all can join in and let us know what you think about it. And while we're waiting for Jan, I will let you know that tomorrow night, I'm actually going to talk about some reality TV. I know. It may not be what everybody wants to hear about, but I think probably some people do. Even though you don't want to admit it. It's not, oh, there's Jan.
Oh.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hi.
Hi. That's awesome. Can everybody hear her? Let me know. Ash and Dee, can you let me know if you hear Jan?
Can everybody hear me? Hopefully you can't see me.
I don't see you. I don't see you. Hey.
Good.
I can't have that going on. I can't have, stop it. Stop. Yes. Okay. Yes, we can hear. Oh, that's awesome.
Yay.
That worked out perfect. Okay. I've never done this before, so I'm excited.
Yep, we're on it.
Something new. Awesome. So happy about this. How are you, Jan?
I'm doing good.
That's great.
How's everybody else doing?
I'm very good. Very good. You know, the monsoon here is lasting, you know, it keeps going. It seems to last longer each year, or some years we just don't have one at all, you know.
Well, it's going to be snowing here soon, so.
Right. I bet. Yeah. I bet. But it's quite beautiful where you're at, that's for sure.
Yes, it is. Just cold.
Would you like to tell everybody about...
No. What do you want me to say?
Just tell us your experience in law enforcement.
So I was law enforcement for 17 years. 3 years I was in the Air Force, where I was an SP. For the majority of my time in law enforcement, I was criminal intelligence and a crime analyst. The last few years of my career, I was a New York State instructor, where I instructed the academies. I was a New York State gang instructor or a gang expert and juvenile expert.
Wow.
Yeah, for the majority of about 15 years of my 17 years, I was criminal intelligence and a crime analyst.
Oh,
with the majority of my time dealing with gangs.
Right. You worked on a gang task force at one time,
I
right?
did. Yeah, that was the majority of my career was dealing with gangs. Yes, within the military, but mainly juvenile gangs, but some active duty gangs as well.
Wow.
I
What?
served also like as a liaison with local law enforcement. Um, there were several task force where we all worked together.
Wow.
Oh,
That's exciting. That must have been fun though. A lot of the time.
it was. Yep, it was just a cat and mouse chase for the most part. Yeah.
That's funny. So I have prepared a few questions that I would like to ask you.
Okay.
So what I'm curious to hear from you, because there's so much said about profiling,
Okay.
and it they typically, it seems to me, mainstream media and politicians want to take this down the road of it being a racist thing or anything else. And quite frankly, myself, I'm thinking, okay, profiling can mean a lot of things.
Mhm.
Somebody driving 35 miles down the freeway and they have a license plate from back east somewhere. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure it's a snowbird. I mean, that's also, that's what we call them here, because you got to try to get around them. That's also profiling. Profiling is just being aware of things and whatnot. If you're
Mhm.
in eBay and there's somebody toothless at Walmart, they probably are a crackhead. I don't know. But
Okay.
this, you have to kind of roll with what is. You can't. To me, it's just putting blinders on by not, understanding this. But as far as law enforcement goes, how do you perceive the importance of profiling?
Profiling is necessary, especially as a crime analyst and criminal intelligence. Profiling is necessary. Profiling is what tells us um, what type of murderer, what type of murderer is murdering and their victims, or like, especially me being in gangs. So I can look at somebody and tell you what gang they're in just based on, well, it's just a totality of circumstances based on how they're dressed, based on their verbiage. So that's all profiling. It's very necessary. I mean, we all profile all the time, and it's not a racial thing. It's just human nature, and it tells, as far as law enforcement, it tells us a lot of things. It's necessary.
But it's probably very dangerous not to.
Right, right. Yes, it would be very dangerous to not profile. Exactly what you said, you hit it right smack dab on the head, as far as if we're looking for somebody and he happens to be a white or a white male with blonde hair, well, now I'm profiling. I mean, we just can go on and on. Profiling is just a characteristic. It's
Right,
not, it's nothing more. It's nothing less. It's just a characteristic.
right, right. Yeah, it's almost, it's a description of somebody, and
Yeah.
so now you just become afraid to even give a description. It's almost, we
And
just.
that's very true. I mean, that's actually really true. We started um right before I retired, we started tiptoeing around how we said things, and it just kind of got ridiculous. It becomes dangerous because if I'm looking for a white female with blonde hair, and I'm afraid to say white female with blonde hair because I'm afraid I might offend somebody, there's misinformation. So now I there's a missing piece. So I don't know who I'm looking for, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I feel. And it always makes me crazy when you hear, oh, because they're in a hoodie. I don't really care about, first of all, I personally believe that I believe in my intuition and my feelings. If I feel like something makes me nervous, I'm going to get away from it. I don't care if it's the preacher down the street. If I feel weird,
Mhm.
I feel weird, and I'm going to trust that I'm going to try to get out of the situation.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter. Um, people are like, oh, okay, so if you walk across the street because there's somebody black, I don't, if I'm alone, I probably don't even really want anybody like right behind me. You
It's
feel,
true.
you just feel weird. Because I can guarantee that, chances are I've been more afraid of white people as a rule at times. I don't know. It just whoever, and so it just gets very frustrating when you feel like you can't say, well, yeah, again, with the whole hoodie thing, that's just silly. If you're all, I live in Arizona, if you're all bundled up, that's going to make me nervous. I don't give a crap
Right.
because it's
Right.
clearly hot. It's a little silly, makes you feel weird. But yeah, I just kind of feel like that kind of thing is the same thing. So, with today's environment being so crazy, the way I see it, it seems almost as if it's okay to not stop when the police want to pull you over. How how is that going to end up if you don't?
Not good. Not good. Um, if you're not stopping, then I mean, there would be a reason that you're not stopping. I can't think of a good one. Um,
Right?
right? I mean, that's serious. I mean, if you're not stopping for a police officer, that's not a good reason. There's no good reason. Because generally, police officers aren't going to stop you for no apparent reason, for the most part.
Right. Right. And even if it is, for no, there's many times I can remember hearing about, um, maybe a really big drug bust or whatever, and it's because the person, the light around their license plate was out. And so, I've had enough law enforcement in my family
You have, yes.
that will tell me, if you hang around a vehicle long enough, you can find a reason.
Yes.
And that's true. And so maybe you profiled, I don't know,
But
something
it's
made
still a
you feel
reason.
right.
Right,
But
right. It's still a reason.
right. But it's a legit, it is a reason. And then it ends up becoming, I don't know, maybe it's Ted Bundy. I don't know. They got a girl in the trunk. Things just happen like this sometimes. Probably not near as often as it should, because a lot of them are, getting by with, all this fentanyl or whatever. But you can find those kind of things to do that, and it ends up being a very, good thing, and possibly it's nothing.
Right.
Probably 95% of the time it's nothing, or even 99% of the time. But so what? Even the law enforcement in my family has said, I'm probably not even going to give them a ticket unless they want to get really hateful with me. Then they can pretty much guarantee a ticket. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I
Oh,
was
okay.
just listening.
Oh,
No, I agree with you totally. I mean, if you're being pulled over or you're being stopped, there's a reason. So whether it is something stupid as an air freshener hanging from your, because that's illegal here in the state of New York, an air freshener hanging from your great state of New York, that's illegal. So I mean, that's still a reason. So it's not for nothing, but it's still a reason. I mean,
wow. Is that really
it
illegal?
really is, yes.
Wow.
You can't have anything hanging from your rearview mirror.
Okay. Hmm.
But it's a reason,
Right.
so, and I mean, and that if you have a license here in the state of New York, you can't have an air freshener hanging from your rearview mirror, right? So it
Hmm.
is what it is. And maybe we'll use that on occasion, but I mean, I
Right.
never have, but because it's stupid, but
Right. Right. Yeah, because you might have somebody from, I don't know, out of town there, and not, who would ever think?
nowadays I can assure you that the police officer is probably just as nervous as the individual being pulled over or being stopped. So, and that's always been. I mean, there's not a police officer that is never doesn't get that gut feeling or that knot in their stomach when they're approaching someone or a situation that they don't know what they're going into. So to say that the person being stopped or talked to should be more afraid, that's not the case. If we weren't afraid, then there's a problem. But most of us always have that knot in your gut. So we're just as apprehensive stopping you as you are being stopped.
Right.
Especially now. Especially now. I wouldn't be a cop now to save my life.
No, I agree. I think to myself, I wouldn't advise anybody to do that. It's a very dangerous situation. And not only that, obviously you have to think about whether you're going to make it home to your family or not every
Yep.
night. That's the thing. But these days, you just might go to prison for the rest of your life for doing your job.
Yep.
That could very well happen.
That's true.
And what are you willing to do for this? I mean, I don't know.
It's not what you're willing to do, it's what you're willing not to do. When you say that, what comes to my mind is with everything that's going on now, you're more apt to be apprehensive about how you approach things, which becomes very dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're more apprehensive to pull your taser or to spray somebody with OC or use any other uses of force because you're afraid that you're going to go to jail as a police officer because somebody might be videotaping it or whatever. But that becomes more dangerous because I think police officers are more apt to think twice, which they should never have to think twice when they're dealing with a criminal or anybody.
Right, with their safety.
Yep.
And the public safety.
Yes.
That's exactly right. Ashley says, you don't know who you just pulled over and what they're doing. Of course, that's scary. Yeah, that I can only imagine. Like you said, anybody who's as nervous as you are, the police officer is just as nervous. They don't have any idea. You at least have an idea it is a police officer that's pulling you over.
Right, you've got the blue lights telling you who's coming. Yeah. We don't know how many's in the car, what you have, where you came from. Did you just kill your mom? We don't know any of that. We don't know anything about you. That's the same with responding to a domestic situation or just any type of call. You don't know what you're going into.
Right.
In the dark of the night, you're going in. In the dark of the night, you're going in without knowing anything. Blinded.
Yeah, I've heard that before, that actually a domestic dispute is one of the most dangerous, which sounded silly to me because you're like, all these things happen, but it's so volatile, you just don't know. And then there's all these emotions and whatnot, who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. And I think, to me, when I see these things about, where they won't stop and then they're not, even, and when they're being, they're resisting arrest, it's like, well, I'm afraid of the cop. I'm like, okay, well, I can guarantee you, I could almost be considered albino. I'm as white as you can get. And
no, I got you. I'm worse.
We're real close there.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that if I resist arrest or don't stop, that it's not going to end well for me.
No.
I just don't think it is. So I just get frustrated. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, that there are not people that are doing things for the wrong reasons. But I just personally don't. I think a lot of times it's, we need to look at the behavior of the person. Let's just please do that, because I believe our police officers are put in a really scary and tough situation a lot of the time.
And they need to be given the confidence to make that decision. It is split in a split second. They have to make that decision in a split second. What are you going to do? Right, wrong, or indifferent. You got to make a decision. And nowadays, I just don't think that you're given that choice. There's lots of squirrels in the middle of the road that couldn't make a decision, right? So you just got to be able to make a decision. But I think now it's just people. I think police officers now are a lot more apprehensive. Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah,
That's dangerous.
I think so too. And it makes me nervous. The whole situation makes me nervous. Obviously, this is another reason why I am very much all about the Second Amendment. Go ahead and make sure I can protect myself.
Yep.
That's the way it has to be. So what I was wondering is, how many times as an officer were you assaulted? Uh-oh, we lost Jen. Let me see if I can get her back. So, Jan, we put a new link up for you. I don't know what happened. Not sure how we lost you, but hopefully you can come back. Let me see. Maybe I heard from her. Don't know. Oh, there she is. What happened?
I don't know. I'm not very tech savvy. I can shoot shit. That's about as far as it goes. That's funny. What'd I miss?
Oh my gosh. Oh no, what I was gonna say is I wondered how many times as an officer were you assaulted?
Was I assaulted? Very few, but I have the gift of gab. Yeah, I'm very good. I have really good people skills, so I can talk people down. It's just a skill. I'm not skilled in very much, but I have this one skill where I can talk people down until I can get them in handcuffs, and then I'm good. But most of the time, so you have to understand my job, most of my career was undercover. And so I really was kind of in the background. But no, I've been called every name in the book, but that's all good.
Right. Yeah, that sticks and stones. Great. Yeah, we're
I
good.
don't care. Yeah, as far as me being assaulted, my husband's also retired. He's retired MP. He's probably gone hands on, probably more than I have. I've drawn my weapon a few times, but not many. I haven't had to. Again, I've got the gift of gab. And being a female and being smaller in stature, not really intimidating for most people, so they don't feel the need to buck up to me, So that's all
Right.
good. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad, because I think that it probably does happen more than.
It does. No, it does with some of my fellow officers. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, Yeah, I think sometimes we don't, we don't think about what all happens in an entire, 8-hour shift, or, a lot of, you don't just leave whenever it's time to leave if you're in the middle of something. So I would assume they go more than 8 hours, but in a shift, you don't think about how many things have happened. You
Oh, yeah. I mean, it can go from helping somebody find their cat to this is true, this is true story, to doing surveillance on a building that maybe drug dealers are at, to chasing down a burglar, to arresting a juvenile. I mean, this can all happen in an 8-hour shift. I mean, to debrief and decompress at the end of the day can be very tasking. Very
Right.
tasking. Yeah. It's not all bad. I mean, you're not always dealing with, like, it's not all bad.
No, there's probably a whole lot of rewarding as well.
100%, especially dealing with gangs. With me, seeing the ones that got out of the gangs and actually made it and live productive lives now, that's rewarding. I mean, that's worth every bit of it.
Right. I bet. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very nice. Yeah. I see that kind of stuff. Anytime when you think about, people in the system, as far as, going through foster care and stuff, and
Mhm.
whenever they are able to get through that well, that's because that's a lot. It's a lot. And it's very rewarding to see whenever those things happen. I haven't been involved in any of it, and so I'm not, taking kind of credit. I'm just very happy whenever I
I, I
it's
I think one of the biggest things I hate is I hate to see that people just think police officers, all they do are just like headhunting and just out to try to catch people, when that's really not the case. The majority of my brothers and sisters really are just out there trying to do good and trying to help. I mean, they'll dig you out of a ditch, it's snow up to their waist, and get back in their car and press on and do their job. So it's not just out there trying to give you a ticket or try to catch you doing something. I mean, that's they're civil servants.
right.
Yes. So very good people for the most part.
Right. Well, that brings me to another question I had, that, obviously I feel, I have my own opinion, but, are there bad cops? Obviously there are.
Yes.
They're bad people, period.
Yes.
But are they all bad? Because they can't. They're not. They're just not.
They're absolutely not. There's very few. There's very few bad cops. And I've known, oh, many, 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 many. And there's very few. And you always have that one that, but that's with anything. You've got bad surgeons. So,
That's exactly what I always say. You can't. You don't always even accept that. There's not. Don't get me wrong. I believe that teachers are good people as a rule, and I think that, there are some teachers that are worth their weight in gold. They are, but there also are teachers that are not good. I mean, it's silly to pretend just because you're a teacher that, you deserve to get paid so much more money and blah blah blah. I have seen teachers that are not. They should not be allowed to teach.
right.
And that happens, and it's every career field, it's every aspect of life. You've got bad people, you've got good people. Mostly, I think mostly good. I think most people are good.
Yes.
I believe that firm. I totally believe that. I think most people want good things. They don't feel ill will towards anyone. I don't, and I could be perceived as a pretty hateful person at times. Um, but I don't have any ill will towards anybody. I really don't. I certainly don't want anything bad to happen to anybody, and I wouldn't physically harm anybody. I don't want to. I think that most people are like that.
I think I agree with you, but I think within the past couple of years, I think the ugly has come out. I think we pitted one against the other at this point. It's going to be really hard to come back to where we have that genuine feeling that people are generally good. But I agree with you that people generally are good people.
Oh, I absolutely agree. No, we have created a division in this country, and it's really dangerous. It's really sad, and
Yes.
it's not real. It's not even real. It's being made up, and it's really sad because I think that people, again, it's not even happening, and it's so divisive and it's so ugly. It really makes me sad. I don't like seeing it, and I hope that we can, just as people, come together and quit listening to the news and people. The people talking about this stuff are people who don't live in everyday world. They don't. They live in their certain little bubble and pretend to know what's happening in our lives and what's happening to us, and they really don't. And it's just a sad situation.
And they're in
I
the business of causing turmoil. That's what they're in the business of, is to cause turmoil. Otherwise, they wouldn't have anything to report on, right?
Right, right.
Right.
No,
So,
I want to say hi to Lauren, has joined us, and I want to recognize that. Thank you so much for joining, Lauren. It's good to see you. I think we're getting close to wrapping this up, I guess. There was one other thing I did want to ask you about, because I know I see these things happen a lot where, like, for instance, I see during with the Kylie Rodney case, and Adventures with Purpose were able to find her, and so everybody's like, how come the police don't have the same equipment? To me, I think you know, this is all that they do. This is all Adventures with Purpose do, is so
exactly.
they have great equipment because that's what they do. I mean, I think they're awesome. I can't talk good enough about them. But it's kind of, to me, a little much to expect for the police to have this exact same equipment when they have to have a lot of other things. A lot. I mean, Adventures with Purpose doesn't have to have weapons and all these other things. So I think it's kind of silly to do that. I mean, how realistic is it for you? Do you think that they would have the same, have such
I,
sophisticated?
well, I don't know about the equipment as I am the time. So they have the time. I mean, they're dedicating their time to one thing, one task,
Right.
where a police force is dealing with lots of different tasks. So they can only do with what they have and the time that they have it. Are they supposed to put everybody else aside? I mean, that sounds callous, but I just, they did the best they could, I guess, at the time. I'm not really familiar with the particulars, but
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of an example, because what I see is, like with Gabby Petito, it's like, well, why don't police know more how to handle a domestic situation, or, people with mental illness, and I
Mhm.
just feel like you're asking a lot of, they
if
can.
I if I can touch on that, so that's part of our training. So you're trained to kind of pick up on those cues and mental illness and stuff, but that doesn't, just because somebody's mentally ill doesn't make them less dangerous. But just being cognizant of it and trying to be a little bit more sensitive of certain things. Yeah, yeah, that's just a hard one. I mean, that's just a hard one. I mean, we could go on and on, like when foster children are put in homes that are abusive, is it the system's fault? Maybe, I don't know. You just, the things are going to just fall through the cracks, I think.
Right. Right. I think it's an awful lot for them to try to walk up on a scene and immediately know. that, okay, this person is not, obviously, I think we all, just as people, police officers or not, you walk up on, I can, you can get around some people and almost immediately know that there's something not right. Um, but But you don't always know that for sure. You could, some people behave fairly well, and then, it takes a while when you're like, oh, yikes, I don't know about that. Um, but I think it's a lot to say you can't have just therapists working as police officers.
Oh God.
It's an awful lot. I think it's asking a lot, because every time something happens, it's like, oh, how come they don't know how to do that? Well, good grief. I don't know. How come they don't? Maybe they don't even know how to, unplug a toilet. I don't know. There's things that maybe they don't want to do. What do you want?
Well, but you have to look at it like this too. So if something's not right, that's not against the law. You can't detain somebody just because it's not right, or that you can't do it because you got a gut feeling. I mean, you can maybe look into it, but you can't arrest somebody because you have a weird feeling. Hell, we'd be arresting all kinds of people.
Yeah, I'd have been locked up for life, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I surely would.
deal. Yeah.
Oh no.
It's so true, and it's so weird because you hear these stories when it's like, well, he, had a mental problem. Well, who knew that? When he's holding a, a
If
fake
he,
something,
right,
and he's not
right.
down.
Yep, if he's welding a knife, I don't care if he's not right or not. I'm just going to be honest. That's not the first thing. Is, well, nope, he's not right, so I'm just going to let him go. That's not how that works. I want to go home.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's good. So I guess for me, ultimately what I say is, obviously I back the blue. I always will. I come from a family of that. Um, I've seen them go through an awful lot themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Really bad positions that, that were, they weren't just, they weren't right. And I know for sure, I don't know how many times I would hear people say, oh, your dad's a cop, oh, your brother's a cop. I'm sure, they just want to bust people so they can take their pot. And I'm like, I guarantee you that is not happening. My brother for sure hates pot so bad he cannot stand it. It makes him furious to think that pot exists. He's not stealing anybody's pot. I would hear all
Don't
these.
have to now. You can just go around the corner and buy it.
Right, okay, right. It's legal now. That must really make him crazy. Because I remember, I remember hearing him say, I found somebody with the joint. I didn't arrest him, but I took that joint and I stomped it into that asphalt. You just try to find, he's so mad that it existed. He couldn't take it.
It's the least of our worries now.
Right. Because at that time, I never even. Only time I knew about heroin was on a movie. I saw people. I wouldn't know it if you put it in my face right now. I have no idea what
Right.
we do with it, and I don't know. Every once in a while, I'm like, apparently it is really awesome. So it feels like I should try it. Not going to. It doesn't seem to be a good idea, but I mean, people are just, it's obviously something amazing. And I'm not, I hate to make fun like that, but I mean, every once in a while, I'm like, good God, I should try it. But obviously it's not, I have no desire to. And the epidemic these days has me sick to my stomach. I mean, I can't even believe what's happening. And I thought meth was going to be the end all. I thought it was the devil. I thought that was it.
Nope. Good weight loss.
Who knew that, that I didn't know anybody who died on that. And I knew a lot of people on it, but This opioid thing is just frightening. It's very frightening. I don't even know. It scares me to death.
Yeah.
But, there's all that still. There's lots of things going on, but I try to stay out of it as much as I can myself. And I just try to be respectful, and I just go ahead and pull over when I get the lights. I don't like it, but I do pull over.
I do too.
I think it's best to do. Um, and certainly if they told me to stop and put my hands up, I would do that. And I'm not saying they're always right. I know I don't believe that they are, but I also think that maybe I can just deal with that later. You know, I know one time I was pulled over and he said, why were you speeding? And I said, well, I was driving back from Vegas and I said, there's all these little towns and it turns into 35. And so my cruise control went off and I hadn't set it back again. So I kind of just went faster than I meant to. And so next thing you know, he's like, okay, so why were you speeding? And I'm like, I don't, me and my sister were talking, I don't know. Pretty soon I was like, okay, I'm not answering that again. First of all, this is a 2-lane road. There's semis whizzing by. This is not even a safe situation. And give me a ticket. Bring it on. This is stupid. What did he want me to say? Because I just robbed a bank? What the hell do you want? I'm bailing out of town. What do you want me to say? I already said it. And I just finally looked at my sister and I was like, I'm not answering it again. I'm not. This is absolutely insane. I don't know what he wanted me to say, but I was done with him. Give me a ticket. I don't care if it's $1 million. Give me the ticket and let me get the hell back on the road. So, I do. And I've often said, when they say, where are you headed? None of your business.
Right.
What does that mean? I'm more than happy to give you my information. Here's my, registration, my license, this and that. Where I'm going is, to hell probably, but really, I don't think that that's even, what difference does that make?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And that right there, I'm like, okay, I'm really hoping that I don't end up saying that because I feel like I'm going to say, does it matter? But what do? You are just, well, I was just going to go to the store and then you just end up telling them this whole, all this crap that you don't, because like you're afraid. I don't know. I've never been, had a body in my trunk or drugs, but you get pulled over and you're like, oh, I'm scared to death. Me anyway, I do that. But actually, I've become a little annoyed with it. I'll be honest.
This went a totally different direction.
I'm like, I
love it.
Don't tolerate it. No,
Yeah, I love it.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? This is what happened to my son one time. They said, why are you driving your girlfriend's car? And he's like, what? It's not, I didn't steal it. She's right here. I mean, what difference does that make? It doesn't matter.
I don't have an answer for you why people ask those things.
Right. It's, just because you put on a uniform, that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to tell you, all of my business. But go ahead and arrest me and do what you got to do, and we'll work that out. Clearly, I don't actually want to be arrested. I hope like hell it never happens.
You're going to be on a billboard here in a minute. Have you seen her? You can come to New York. We're good here. Just come on up here. You'll be good.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a part of New York actually, but not all of it. That's kind of funny because I always tend to think that I'm, really nervous about everything. And a few years ago, me and Ashley and Becca went to New York and in the middle of the night, found myself on the street lost, and I couldn't figure out where I was at.
Ugh.
Yeah, in New York City, and this kid was like, "I'll help you," and I was like, "Oh, great, awesome." And she's like, "Are you insane? What is wrong with you?" Like, I don't know. I was kind of scared, but I just said, really, I've lived a good life. It's gonna probably be.
That's right.
I
Amen. Amen, sister.
probably not a great idea what I did here, but I did it. So, what am I gonna do? It is what it is. Oh my God. We only have one person left in here that if I understand things right, maybe I don't, and that's quite possible.
Nobody likes it.
So, right, yeah. Am I right? Is there only just one person in here?
Who is it?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Ashley. I don't know if Lauren's still in here or if Dee is still in here. I hope she is. I didn't see Judy. She told me she was going to join, but I haven't seen her. I need to quit saying people's name. I'm sorry. Really sorry about that. But, everybody that's in here at this point knows me already. So, once I get a lot of people joining, then, I'm going to have to really learn how to shut my mouth.
No, you don't. That wouldn't be you.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
keep it going, sister. You keep it going. You keep it going.
That's what I do. I run my mouth.
You say shit that all of us are afraid to say, so you just go.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe I do.
That's good.
Yeah, maybe I should sometimes not, but that's not my style. My style is to just go ahead and run it.
That's right.
That's who I am. So, well, I guess we will call it a night. And thank you so much, Jan. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you coming on
No
here
problem.
to me about it. And any old time, I'll just drop the link. It's, because I like to just visit. And like I was saying earlier, I'm just going to have to talk some reality TV tomorrow night. I just need to really bad. So anybody who is interested in any 90-Day Fiance stuff.
Oh, I'll be there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Angela's on another, she's on another rampage. And so that's going to be pretty awesome. And, the sister wife thing, there's lots going on. So I'm going to go ahead and just talk about that tomorrow night. And so anybody who wants to join in, I would love it. I would appreciate it. And just having a fun conversation, actually, I think is nice. For me, I think I find it to be enjoyable. I hope everybody else enjoyed it. I do want to say every single thing I have said here is absolutely my own opinion. There's no facts here. Entertainment purposes only. That's it. So, don't come for me. I am not. I got no so nowhere.
So I have to cancel the billboard?
Yep. Yeah, I think so. Because really, you know what? This right here, this little room, this is where I got say so. And not even so much of that, because pretty much 3 Chihuahuas run this place. 100%. So I really got say so nowhere. Definitely not on the internet. That's it. So don't ever take anything I'm saying for the gospel, because it's not. It's just what I think, and I enjoy talking about it. So that's it.
Okay, Jackie.
All right. Thank you so much, Jan.
Yep.
And thank you everybody for joining. Please hit like and subscribe. Push the notification bell so you can be notified when I'm going to be up here yakking my head off again. And come back again, please. Thank you all so much. I love you all very much. Thank you so much for joining. Good night.